We're talking with the fifth grade students of Berry Elementary in Houston, Texas. Hi, kids. Welcome to the International Space Station Flight Control Room. I understand you guys have a lot of questions about flying in space, and it's a good thing because today we have astronaut Mike Foreman here with us. He has flown twice in space aboard the Space Shuttle on STS-123 and 129. Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Great to be here, Amico.
Hello, my name is Eric. My question is, what's the most dangerous job in NASA and why do you do it?
Eric, I'm not sure what the most dangerous job at NASA is. Some people might say that astronauts have a dangerous job, and I think, NASA does a really good job of making sure that our jobs are safe as possible. So we do as much as we can. When we were flying the space shuttle, we did as much as we can to make those vehicles safe to fly. And we did a great job, I think, at that. We have some really smart people here at NASA that take really good care of the astronauts. So there's probably some more dangerous jobs at NASA than astronauts.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Christian. My question is, how does a spacesuit work?
How do the spaces work?
Yes.
I'm not sure I follow. Oh, spacesuits?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good question, Christian. Okay, we have a couple of different kinds of spacesuits that we wear. When we launch, whether it be on the space shuttle or the Soyuz capsule launching from Russia to the space station, our astronauts wear a suit that protects them in case we lose the pressure inside the space capsule or space shuttle. So those suits are to protect us while we launch and when we come back. Now, if we go outside the space station and the space shuttle on a spacewalk, then we wear a completely different suit. And that's what we call an EMU, which stands for Extravehicular Mobility Unit. Big long word for a spacesuit. But that suit is like a one-person spaceship because you get in that suit and you go outside the spaceship that you came up in, and it gives you oxygen and it keeps you cool and it protects you from the environment outside the spaceship. So that's how that's the little bit about the spacesuits that we wear.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Guillermo. My question is, do you need to exercise a lot in space?
We do exercise a lot, both down here on Earth when we're preparing to go to space and while we're in space. And the reason that we exercise a lot in space is because we're living in a weightless environment up there, which means there's no gravity. We don't get the same. Our bones don't get the same workout that they do down here on Earth. When we're walking around today, our bones are getting a little bit of a workout because they have to support our body weight because of the gravity. But in space, we don't have that gravity, so we need to exercise our muscles to keep our bones rebuilding themselves and make sure the bones stay as strong as they were when we left for space, because we don't come back and have weaker bones. So astronauts spend about 2.5 hours a day while they're in space exercising every day.
And they have several ways to do that exercise. There are several different pieces of equipment in that space gym. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, they actually have a couple of different ways to exercise. They have a treadmill, which is kind of funny because a treadmill, you have to run on a treadmill, but if there's no gravity, you would just float off of the treadmill. But they have a harness that connects them down to the treadmill so that they don't float away from it while they're running on it. They have an exercise bike so they can exercise that way. And they also have a resistive exercise device, which is like lifting weights. So they can't lift weights in space because the weights wouldn't weigh anything either, but they have an exercise device that's sort of like rubber bands almost. You push against it, and the rubber bands provide the resistance that exercise your muscles.
We have another question?
No, thank you.
Hello, my name is Guadalupe, and my question is, how do you control the spaceship without the buttons to go at the right distance to the right place?
Well, we have really smart people at NASA that figure out where we need to go in our spaceship to get to the space station. So they figure that all out, and they put it into the computer, and the computer kind of knows how we get there. And when we get close enough and we can see the space station, then we can take over and fly the spaceship in to a docking.
And a lot of those smart people are here in this room right now. This is, again, the International Space Station Flight Control Room, where the team is monitoring the systems aboard the space station on a daily basis, 24/7. Next question.
Hi, my name is Amber. My question is, how do you keep track of the space shuttles while they're in space?
How do we keep track of them? Well, we have those smart people at NASA that keep track of where they are. So we couldn't get lost in space because we have smart people down here at NASA that are taking care of us and making sure we're going in the right direction and we're getting to where we need to go. And the people here in this mission control room are controlling the space station right now that's going around the Earth every 90 minutes. So they're making sure that the space station stays at the right altitude, keeping it up as high as it needs to be to stay in that orbit, and keeping going in the right direction.
And if you look just behind us, you can see a map. That is the map where we can keep track of where that space station is at any given time. Next question.
Hi, my name is Jose Gonzalez. My question is, how do you eat in space if everything floats?
How do we eat in space? Well, you have to be careful. We have really good food that they send along with us to space, so it's a good thing when we get to eat. We open the packages very carefully so that we don't shake the food and it float out. So, but mostly it stays in the package pretty well if you don't shake it around, and then you can use a fork or a spoon to reach in and get a bite at a time and eat it that way. I know on my first space shuttle mission, I had some granola, and you know what granola is? Granola is kind of crumbly, and it makes little chunks of bran and things like that. I got tired of that because every time I opened that, it seemed like some of it would float out, and I would have a mess, and I would have to clean up. So I didn't take granola on my second mission because it was too messy.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Zorn, and my question is, how do you keep your food and supplies from going bad without a refrigerator or cooking it?
Well, we do cook it. We have an oven. We don't have a refrigerator, so it has to be food that won't go bad in space. Some of it is dehydrated, so the dehydrated food we keep dry in the package until we are ready to eat it, and then we would add water. And if we needed to heat it up, say it was oatmeal, you add water to make it oatmeal, and then you heat it up so that it's warm, like you're used to eating oatmeal, and then we would eat it. But some food that we take is we call shelf stable, which means it's has preservatives that keep it from going bad inside the package. And some of it is like the food that our troops eat in Afghanistan and Iraq, and we call those meals ready to eat. That's what the soldiers carry. And we would eat the same kind of food that they eat, which is also really good. And typically we would just put it in the oven for a while to heat it up and then eat it.
Hello, my name is Rebecca, and my question is, how do you feel after a long trip in space when you return to Earth?
Well, after a trip in space, I think long or short, you're always happy to get back to Earth because there are some things that you miss in space, like we don't get to take a shower in space. So when you come back from space, you're ready to take a shower, and we have good food, but we don't have things like hamburgers or pizza. So you want to have some regular food again. You want to have a hamburger or pizza. So it's always good to be back. So everybody's happy to be back. The way you feel when you get back is at first, because you're used to living with no gravity up in space, when you come back, you first feel very heavy because your body's getting used to the gravity down here on Earth again. But that goes away pretty fast. What doesn't go away as fast is your sense of balance because we have a thing in our inner ear called a neurovestibular system, and that's what tells us, right now that I'm tipping over, because there's a little sensor in there that sends a signal to my brain and tells it, I'm tilted. But in space, since there's no gravity for that sensor to use to tell it where it is, our brains don't get that signal for a while, and we come back, and then that neurovestibular system sort of has to turn back on, and it takes a couple of days before our sense of balance is back to 100%.
Hello, my name is Ariella. My question is, how can you repair equipment in space?
Well, we train quite a bit here at NASA to be able to repair equipment in space, and we know things are going to break, and so we take spare parts up to the space station to have them ready in case something breaks, and then when something does break, our astronauts can get a little refresher course from the ground people here in Mission Control. Will tell them how to repair what's broken, and then they can fix things. And we did a lot of that in my missions to the space shuttle. On the space shuttle to the space station, we went outside and repaired the space station and actually helped to build the space station at that point.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Irma. My question is, do you have to go to college and what do you study?
To become an astronaut, you do need to have a bachelor's degree at least from college. It's even better if you have advanced college degrees. So I went to the U.S. Naval Academy and I studied aerospace engineering as an undergraduate and got a Bachelor of Science in that. And then I went to further school and got a master's degree in aeronautical engineering. And I'm also a test pilot from the Navy. So I've been to a lot of college, and most astronauts you'll find have a lot of college in their background. This takes a lot of training, and so many people want to be astronauts that it's very competitive to become an astronaut. So people with more education, more training, usually have a little bit of a leg up on the people that don't.
Hi, my name is Vistana. My question is, what do you like to do in the space?
Well, I like to look outside the window and see the Earth down below us. It's amazing to see the Earth from that high up. And we're going around the Earth every 90 minutes, so we're really going fast around the Earth. We're going 17,500 miles an hour. So the Earth goes by really fast, and you get to see a lot of different parts of the world just from a short look out the window. So that's a lot of fun. And of course, since we're floating up there, we can do somersaults, and we can play kind of games with M&Ms and things like that. So we work pretty hard up there, but occasionally we have a little bit of time to look out the window and take a break and play some astronaut games, I guess.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Jesus. My question is it true that in 2030 there will be a one-way trip to Mars?
Well, we hope that in the 2030s, let's see, you guys will be about probably, 29, 30 years old by then. We're hoping that we'll have a trip to Mars planned, and that we'll send people to Mars and bring them back and actually start to explore Mars, have humans go there. So maybe somebody in the room there will be one of the first people to go to Mars. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Luis Trejo. My question is, how many space shuttles does NASA have and how many people can it fit?
I heard the first part is how many space shuttles does NASA have? What was the second part?
How many people can fit inside one?
How many people can fit inside one? Well, right now NASA has 3 space shuttles that actually went to space, and then we have a 4th space shuttle, Enterprise, that we used to practice landings when we first designed the space shuttle. they weren't sure exactly how it was going to come back and land on Earth. So they built Enterprise, and that's what they did the practice landings in way back when. So right now, yesterday, they delivered the Space Shuttle Discovery to the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. So if you take a field trip or a vacation to Washington, D.C., you can actually go to the Smithsonian Museum and see the Space Shuttle Discovery. The Space Shuttle Enterprise, which was at the Smithsonian, is on its way to New York. So if you ever take a trip to New York, you'll be able to see Enterprise up in New York City. And eventually, the Space Shuttle Endeavour, which is the first one that I flew on, will be transferred out to Los Angeles, California, to a museum out there. So if your travels take you to Los Angeles, eventually you'll be able to see Endeavour, which would be pretty cool for me because since I flew in space on that space shuttle, I'd like to see it again. And then finally, the fourth one, Atlantis. Atlantis was the space shuttle I flew my second mission on, and that space shuttle is going to stay down in Florida at the Kennedy Space Center. So if you ever go to Florida to visit the Kennedy Space Center, you'll be able to see Atlantis down there. So since we're not flying these space shuttles anymore, it's great that we're putting them in museums around the country, so a lot of people will be able to see them and appreciate what a space shuttle looks like up close.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Angel, and my question is, how old do you need to be to go to space?
How old do you need to be?
Yes.
Well, there's no minimum age for going to space, but for our astronaut program, typically people are in their 30s when they get selected to be an astronaut because of all the training that we talked about in the earlier question about college requirements. Usually people that become astronauts are in their 30s already, and then they come to NASA and they might train for 2 to 5 years before they go to space. So typically astronauts that go to space are in their mid to late 30s for the first time. So you guys have a little bit of time to get all of your school done and go to college and get some experience before you get to go to Mars.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Crystal. My question is, why are kids not able to travel to the moon?
Why are kids not able to travel to the moon, Crystal?
Yeah.
Well, traveling in space is still dangerous. Maybe sometime in the future it'll be so safe and it'll be so routine that it'll be like getting on an airliner and flying from here to California. But right now it's still considered fairly dangerous. So we wouldn't be very good parents if we let our kids fly on a space shuttle to the moon or a spaceship to the moon or to anywhere in space. So that's the reason, primary reason. And since we can only launch a certain number of people into space, we try to get people that know how to work all the experiments and have a lot of training first. So it'll be a while before we probably start sending kids to space.
And I've got another answer for that, and it is because kids need to stay in school. And if you stay in school, that'll take you to the moon. Next question.
Hello, my name is Tanya. My question is, who was the first man on the moon?
Who was the first man on the moon? Neil Armstrong. You know where Neil Armstrong grew up? In Ohio. And you know where I grew up? I grew up in Ohio. So Neil Armstrong was one of my heroes when I was a kid growing up in Ohio. That's why I wanted to be an astronaut.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is.
I think we have lots of kids laughing. I think There you go.
Hi, this is Patricia at in the Digital Learning Network. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right, looks like we lost the audio. We lost the picture from Mission Control. So, all right, so it appears as though they may have to cut out a little early. Hold on just a second, and I'm going to see what happened, okay?
Hi, kids. Hi, kids. This is Amiko Cowder here, Public Affairs Officer with Astronaut Mike Foreman in the International Space Station Flight Control Room. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Here we go. Okay. Do we have another question?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Daniela. My question is, what do you study at NASA and what kinds of things do you do there?
What do I do in my job here in NASA?
Yes.
Well, aside from training to fly to space, I also have a job here on the ground when I'm not training. And right now, I'll just give you a little bit of background. NASA is working with some companies in the United States to help them build the next rocket that is going to take our astronauts to the space station. Because right now, the guys that are up on the space station got there on a Russian rocket. And Russia is the only country that has a rocket that can take our astronauts to the space station. And we would like to have a rocket from the United States to do that job as well. So we're working with companies in the United States to help them build a new rocket. And I work with a company called Boeing. Boeing is one of the competitors that was working on a new rocket. And so I help Boeing by providing them some of my background and experience here at NASA to help them build the next rocket to take our astronauts to the space station. So even that is a really cool job. I really like that. I enjoy spending time with all the smart people at Boeing and listening to them as they work to design the next rocket to take our astronauts to space.
Thank you.
All right, that is all of our planned questions. I know one other student did have a question that he would like to ask. Is that okay?
Sure.
My name is Eliza. My question is, have you ever been in a meteor shower?
Well, sort of. In space, sometimes you see more meteors coming through our atmosphere, upper atmosphere, it seems like, than when we're down here on Earth. Maybe because we're up there and we're looking out the window more and we see them. But I can also tell you that since I've been outside the space station doing spacewalks, and the space station is mostly made of metal, you see a lot of little pit marks, little dents in the outside of the space station from where micrometeorites have hit. So we know that there's a lot of things up there that come back and actually hit the space station on the outside. They're really tiny, but they're going really fast, so they make a little mark. So yes, I've been inside a meteor shower, I guess, by living in the space station for a few weeks.
Good questions, and I think that is all the time we have today. We really appreciate you guys. We're glad you were able to come and join us here in the International Space Station Flight Control Room. Again, thank you, Mike, for coming. You heard it here. This is the best job in the world and off the world. So study hard. Thank your teachers and eat your veggies. This is Mission Control Houston.
Thank
Bye,
you.
kids.
Thank you, Mr. Mike.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Thank you.